Hey there, what's going on, everybody? Long time no see. But today I wanted to talk to you about this lovely dovely game that we call Crossout that I have been playing for a variety of months on and off, and why I've taken a break and just the general state of this game. Now, if you don't know, currently this game is kind of going through a low point. It's not having the best of days. It's currently right around, I want to say 2,900-ish players on Steam, which usually ebbs and flows between, 4,000 to 3,000, and low points are usually characterized by like sub 3,000, some even going as low as like what 2,300 was the absolute lowest, I think, something around there. And you can definitely feel that, especially on the North American servers, where during some pretty active hours I can still get somewhere upwards of a 7-minute queue just for a basic mission. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. You guys even saw that on stream when I was streaming this on YouTube and Twitch. And yeah, that's not really a terribly positive thing. Why is this the case? Why is Crossout a little bit barren at the moment? It's probably because there's some, how should I say, disagreement. Yeah, we'll put it that way. It sounds polite. Some disagreement over the direction of this game. And to be fair, there's been some disagreement over the direction of this game for a very long time. I mean, take a look at someone like Gromek999, one of the most popular content creators on Crossout to date. And yet he eventually had to leave this game because he did not like the direction the developers were going in, not to mention the dwindling player base. But why is that the case? Why are people leaving this game? Well, of course, it is always the end of the season, and end of season generally means people are fatigued and burned out from grinding, so they're going to want to take a break at this point in time. That's completely understandable. A lot of people have probably had months with this patch at this point. It's called the amusement park at this point in time, at this point of recording. So that's one potential reason. Another potential reason is just maybe the overall direction of this game. Because if you don't know, Targem kind of likes to do this thing where they release some mild amount of content and then like 2 or 3 iterations of packs, maybe a balance update, and then they kind of repeat the cycle over and over and over. And for the last couple of patches, that has been pretty much the case. Especially after the Founders, in which the subsequent seasons were a little bit less, how should I say, interesting, to say the least. And primarily that's probably because very few of them are actually affecting the core gameplay loop, that being the craft, ride, and destroyed aspect, in which the destroying part, which is usually the missions or the brawls or the raids, that really hasn't changed in a whole lot for a very long time. I mean, the most notable change that people have really felt in the longest of times is that raids have gotten a lot longer, which, not really ideal. Not really ideal. Oh yeah, I guess there was also the patch in which they nerfed the rewards for a lot of things, like how they nerfed the what was it, Steel Cradle? Didn't they nerf that to be below the average reward for whatever reason? Yeah, I'm not sure why they decided to do that. And basically the same thing has happened with missions and brawls too, because those two things really haven't seen any sort of major modification to their gameplay, but rather just the reward structure has changed, and that missions no longer give you items and scrap, they just give you scrap and whatever resource like wires and batteries now, and that brawls basically don't give you any resources. They used to give you like some 120 per win, now they maybe give you like what, 7, basically making them a penalty to grind, a chore to grind, or something that you can optionally do for whatever reason. They decided to nerf that for I don't even know, like literally I am baffled as to why they would nerf those to be below what you would earn from missions. I still do not get that to this day. But why is that a big thing? Why is that important? Well, that's because if you're someone who has played this game for a very long time, what is there to keep you interested? Because there is very few things that fundamentally have changed about the gameplay here. If you've played, this game in beta, you've done the basic team deathmatch or point capture thing that you've been doing forever, with the only modification being that maybe some of the maps have changed, and maybe there's been some new weapon additions that you may not even get to be able to play, because a lot of these new weapon additions are kind of expensive, like the stuff from packs. Like, you can't really get a cap can or the mine layer because, well, congratulations, those things cost a couple thousand coins per. These deficiencies in gameplay are completely obvious too if you ever compare this to any other game like this. Like, if you compare it to something like Star Wars Battlefront 2, that game has a shiitake ton of modes to work with here, either from Hero Deathmatch, Starfighter, point capture type of defense gameplay where you operate in waves. Like, stuff like that, pretty obvious in what they try to do, and it's very cinematic, very gameplay oriented in the sense that you have a variety of stuff to do. In this game, you just have the one kind of game mode in PvP, and maybe like the same 3 mission types that you have in raids. So nothing a lot to here to work with here. They could try to open it up and have more Leviathan PvP battles that, you know, someone controls a Leviathan, the enemy team tries to destroy you, or something else, a variety of other things that they could easily try if they wanted to, but maybe for gameplay limitations or top-down restrictions from management. I don't know what the big overall issue here that's preventing them from enhancing the gameplay, but they need to get over it at some point here because the player base will get fatigued here, and they can most certainly have a larger one here if they just try to. But that's not the only issue here. That is not the only issue here. You also have to consider the fact, well, what about the monetary aspect of this game? Because if you ever look at any sort of thing that looks like a complaint for this game, is this game pay to win, or what's with the pack deal, or what's with the microtransactions, blah, 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 blah. These are a really huge complaint for a lot of new players and elder players too, because the huge focus and huge divestment of resources that go towards these things that many people will not be able to enjoy because these things are simply going to be too expensive, well, that kind of irritates a lot of people too. Like, if you constantly are making packs and packs and packs and packs and packs with all of these excellent gameplay enhancing items, only to have these be locked behind huge sums of money that very few people can actually acquire within a reasonable amount of time, well, then that's just going to kind of peeve people off. Not to mention, it just gives it a very bitter taste because everyone's just going to associate this with a pay-to-win aspect. Regardless of whether or not it is pay-to-win, it is still going to give off that very strong, pungent taste of pay-to-win every single time you release a brand new $60 pack with a $4,000 coin and this excellent cab or excellent mine layer or the extra harpoon thingamajiggy that enhances gameplay and make or breaks a bunch of builds, only to have that around a 2,000, 3,000 coin barrier every single time on PC markets. Probably way worse on console markets here, but you get the idea. And that pretty much is the state of this game right now, in which you kind of deal with very small gameplay enhancing features, nothing that really affects the core gameplay loop here, and a lot of things that end up coming behind pack and paywalls or timed barriers through seasons, which I didn't even get to that, which, ooh, that could be a whole issue on its own right, preventing people from getting into this game when they realize, oh wow, there's a lot of content I simply can't access anymore. But disregarding all of that, that's kind of the state of this game as it currently stands, and you can see why there is a dwindling in the player base right now, and why the game is kind of going through a lull. Sure, by no means is this game going to die. There's still an active player base, there's still an active stream base, there's still going to be a base there, regardless of whatever Targem does. But to be fair, they could do so much better with this game. They could have such a larger player base, and maybe then they wouldn't have to pay thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to pay PewDiePie to play this game for like 5 minutes and make dick jokes for 30 minutes. I mean, they could do so much better, and for whatever reason, they just kind of choose to go down this surefire route of constantly releasing packs and maybe making like $50,000 every 2 months or something. I'm not quite sure what they're doing here, and I wish they would try to do something better. Maybe then they could try to inspire more content creators and make some more interesting content with this game, other than just repeating the exact same thing for a million times over and hoping that something changes here. I mean, do I need to give you the definition of insanity here? But I guess that's just kind of my 2 cents of this game. What do you think about the state of this game right now? Are you happy with it? Are you discontent? Leave me down below and maybe we can argue about it a little bit. But other than that, I want to thank you guys for joining me this evening, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.